don't know why I'm recording this. I've just watched a video on YouTube to do with the moon base, and according to the video, it would only take 10 years, starting now, 10 years, and $20 to $40 billion to create a workable, viable moon base. Now, I'm a big space fan. Space is cool, as well as deadly, but space nonetheless. I was maybe 4 or 5, so a few years ago, when I first looked up at the moon, and I thought it was so beautiful just to see it. And then, like, 2 years down the line, or like 2 weeks later, somebody told me, "Oh, somebody's been there. His name was Neil Armstrong." And I was like, "I must see this immediately. I must see it." And I was like, I watched him say those immortal words: "It's one small step for man. It's one giant leap for mankind." And ever since then, I've always said to myself, or whenever I've looked up at the moon, when it's big and bright, or when it's just that tiny sliver, just the tiniest, thinnest moon, I've always wondered what it would be like to look up and see light on the dark side of the moon, see a ring of satellites, starships circling the moon, travelling off into the stars. And, you know, it maybe, well, it's not maybe slightly depressed, it's just, I'm just saying, it's one of those things that I'd like to see. You know, there are so many movies that have got like, oh, we've got a moon base, oh, we've got a lunar base, oh, we've got this, that and the other. But despite what everybody has said, what everybody has done, nobody will go there because they don't get paid for it immediately. Because people like money. And to invest in something that is not going to give you profit until it's a viable base, which is like 10, 15, 20, 25 years later, is pointless, apparently, to them, even though the moon base could be our freedom. So, let's just premise of the video. Well, not really this video, this is just me having a bit of a rant and recording it because I wanted to. That and I've got far too much sugar in me. But you send off a number of astronauts, they build the first base, they stay there for 6 months or so in a cave. The picture that's been on the screen is one of the pictures that came up when I put in moon base. Fair enough. I was honestly expecting to see the moon base from Smile, is it? The one with somebody in it that gets cloned every time he dies. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, I was expecting that, but no, I got this instead. It's like, oh my god, this is what I want to see. And it's just, you know, the things you could do when you're up there, like mining the lunar regolith, just mining the moon in general, is so beneficial because on Earth we are running out of natural resources. No shit, we've been mining and mining for thousands of years, and it's in millions of them, but thousands of years, you know, and we're running out of things, so we kind of need them. They're on the moon, they're quite close, and sending things back to Earth is cheaper than opening up a new plot somewhere just to dig out maybe 5 or 6 tons of platinum, as an example. and it'd be easier to send it back after it's been refined. Because on the moon there is water ice, and people can, while in the base, split it into hydrogen and oxygen, use the oxygen to smelt the metals that are refined to then ship it back down to Earth. Not back down to Earth, but back to Earth, yeah. And it's like, why spend so much effort? This is what the politicians are saying. Why spend so much effort for this amount of time to only get this much back? But think of the enormous leap forward you could have. The monumental, say, be the first person to go, this is the moon base, we're here on the moon, You'd want to be you'd just want to cheer, you big parade for all the people that are on the moon, beam down to the Earth, whatever. Solar power. If they're in the North or South Pole, I believe, they get 6 months worth of solar power continuously. There is nowhere on Earth that is possible apart from poles. We can't use the poles for solar power because of the cold. Or rather, because of the snow. There's no snow on the moon. Just dunk, solar panel, 6 months of power, store some of it in a capacitor of some kind, fire it to Earth, hope it lands in the sea. Or not, there's more context to this, but this is just me brainstorming while I'm sat here in my underwear. Yeah, it sounds weird when I say that, but yeah, I'm brainstorming while I'm in my underwear. And it's like, we could have low gravity without the need for the ISS, because on the ISS there is zero gravity, or there is some gravity, but there's not enough to actually affect muscle loss. There is actual gravity on the moon. You would be able to keep most, if not all, of your muscle wastage, bone deficiency decreasing, whatever. And it's like, oh, surely this would be easier. But no, everybody's like, oh, we can't really spend the money on this. Sat there counting his dollars, whoever it is, and it's like, really? I say dollars because that's just general word for currency is dollar. And it's like, why bother? Why not just go to the moon? Imagine saying, I am going to stay on the moon for 6 months. I'm going to see what happens and do X amount of experiments. I need some help. Who's going to come with me? That's what I'm saying. I can't fund it. I can't help with it. But I just want it to happen. And that's, I'd like to say, yes, Elon Musk, if you're listening to this video, please stop looking at putting things in orbit, send it to the moon instead. Look at the moon and think of it as a really big, green and fertile land that you can just grab at with all of your muster, because I think Elon Musk is privately owned kind of company thing, so nobody can touch it if it's not policy related, but like politics related. Nobody can touch it because it's there and he can do what he likes. Look at the moon. Think of it as a really, really, really big white, round, circular pearl. Think of it as a really big pearl that you just want to grab and offer to people for nothing or for however much, and it's like, well, not for however much, but sure, invest X amount of money in it, get a small investment from it at the end of your life, or for the rest of mankind, for God's sake. The entirety of the human race would be free to just go, you know what, I don't like Earth, I'd rather live on the moon. Go there then. Literally just off you poodle, off you go, bye bye. You can't see all the hand waving I'm doing because I don't want you to, but I'm doing a lot of hand waving because I'm getting frantic. And it's like, I was born too early. Well, I was born too early to explore. It's always the case, isn't it? I was born too early to explore space, but too late to explore the Earth. Why can that not change? We can't send manned missions to Mars yet because it's not possible. Well, if we have a moon base, which, 30 years down the line, if it starts, say, next month, no idea how long it takes to build a rocket, so I'll just say next month, you could start from the moon and expand outwards. Just think of the moon base as the seed of interstellar travel. Well, not interstellar travel, but intersolar system? Extraplanetary travel. There you go. EPT. There you go. Extraplanetary travel. Less fuel cost to travel to Mars. More space to build things. You don't have to worry about, they need an exclusion zone for it because cloud of gas and dust of whatever, when the rocket goes off. You wouldn't need it. You just build it. Like, I have a poster from Kyrgyzstan, whatever, about their Dyson sphere. Not Dyson sphere, but like mirror sphere around the Earth, around the sun. And it's like, yes, build it. Can't build it yet because we don't have the resources for it. Start from the moon. You start from the moon, send probes and people to, well, not people, but send probes and robots and building materials and things from the moon to Mercury. Start mining. I know this is like, say, 200 years in the future, if we're even all here, but I know I won't be. But think of the people that will be here, if there are any. Think of the people who will be here. Think of how difficult their life is going to be if they don't have, like, power. They don't have light. They don't have, telecommunications, mobile phones, things like that. Of course, mobile phones probably be somewhere else, but think of what could be achieved if, for the sake of humanity, for the sake of all of the people on Earth, we spread out among, just in our solar system. Think of all of the stuff we could get, like water, right? We're having difficulties getting water in some places because of we're not having difficulty getting water, but the salination of the sea is getting, I think it's either worse or, but yeah, the salination of the sea is getting worse because of global warming. Well, we can fix that because we've got this enormous ball of water just there. I'm talking about, like, Europa. Europa is a massive ball of liquid water, and we can get nowhere near it because we don't have somewhere to go to, like a Jupiter base. You think about it, if you have a base on every single planet in the solar system, and including Pluto, because Pluto's great, It may not be classed as a planet, but it's a planet to me. Think of all the things you could get, like Io. Io, just as an example, just think of the stuff that. Right, I'm gonna. Let me see. Right. I'm googling while I'm doing this. Io moon, right? Looking at Wikipedia for Io, which is one of the moons of Jupiter. Sulfur dioxide, highest proportion in the solar system of sulfur. Now, I'm not being funny. I know we don't need sulfur, but sorry, yawning. Like, it's got oxygen on it. I've got a picture in front of me. There's a sodium and an oxygen aurora. Imagine harvesting pure oxygen from Io's atmosphere, to then transport to a orbiting structure around Jupiter. Like, but it's got a big enough magnetosphere. It would probably keep us safe from radiation, etc. I'm guessing. I don't know most of this. It's just it's like, why would you? The moon is the first step. Getting back on topic, wandering off. What, my brain does that. But if you go from the moon is the egg. Literally, the moon is the egg that could hatch into activity all over the solar system. Imagine saying, "Oh, I'm just going to go call my mother. She's on Venus taking samples of groundwater. Well, not groundwater, but ground liquids. And she's just there. She's alive because the moon created a better spacesuit than is available on Earth because of the sort of, not the atmosphere, but sort of the engineering that went into a new suit to make life on Mars, life on the moon, better. It's like, right, I'm gonna stop my rant now, because if I keep going, I'm gonna end up drowning people in crap. And yeah, so that's the thing. That's that. The thing to take away from this video, well, it's not really a video, it's just me rambling on with a picture of a moon base. Take from this two things. In order to get further into space, we need to make a moon base. I made it rhyme for a reason. To get from the moon to then colonise Mars. Now, Mars, big red planet full of deadly dust. Lovely thing. But think of the extra room. The planet is getting smaller and smaller. Our planet is getting smaller and smaller because more people are living on it. We don't have enough time to be throwing our future away. The future of the human race is going to falter and stop if we can't get rid of some of the population. I'm not saying we kill them, I'm saying we displace them. We build a moon base, we build a Mars base, we put them out there and say to people, sick of being on Earth? Sick of not having food, water? Come here where we will provide for you are crops that we have grown with science in the lunar and Martian soils, or hydroponically. Imagine looking up at the moon and seeing vast strings of green. Away from Earth, away from pictures of the Earth, imagine looking up and seeing a green moon, because we've put domes and trellises all over it and turned it into a garden that could feed the entire planet. You know, imagine having moon cabbage. Because of the low gravity, it's the size of a small dog. Huge thing. But because of the low gravity, huge cabbage. Just, you know, think of the food, fuel, and, like, population decrease. You take the moon and you turn it into real estate. That's what it is. You just need to put people on it first. And I'm going to stop ranting now, because I feel I've probably bored you enough. I am Paradox Master 1819, and I am hoping for a future for mankind. And I say mankind and not... Well, not... I say mankind, but I really mean humankind, because that's what we all are. We are humans. Every last one of us. And we have this urge to explore, yet we have stopped on Earth.